Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Betsy, and with me is Trent.
Hello, Betsy.
Hi, Trent. We have reached the 2000s, the age where we were out of high school, figuring out our lives. We've moved on from the age we were during Reality Bites. And now we are in 2004 for yet another movie that when we were picking our lineup for this series went, so we're doing this one, right?
Yeah, this one was an easy choice.
Because when we're thinking of quintessential movies from a specific time frame, I don't think it gets more 2004, the time and the place that this movie could exist.
Where we were as a people, as a country, as a society, everything.
That movie, of course, being Team America World Police, because I have seen this movie all of, I want to say, maybe twice.
Okay.
Definitely once, maybe one and a half. But Trent, somehow in 20 years, you have never sat down to watch Team America World Police.
I have seen precious little of this movie, both in like the actual movie itself and in like clip form and meme form. I just avoided this movie like the plague.
Why? What is it with this movie? Because it's not like you dislike South Park.
I do like South Park. I like the South Park movie. In fact, when we cover this movie, I will have seen all 4 of the Trey Parker and Matt Stone movies.
You've seen Orgasmo?
I have seen Orgasmo. I have seen Basketball.
No.
And I have seen South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. And I didn't get that joke until probably 5 years ago.
5 whole minutes before we started recording.
Seriously. Yes. So Team America World Police, it looked fucking stupid. Because it's puppets. This is a puppet movie.
No, these are marionettes, Trent.
Excuse me.
They're
It's a
not
form
puppets.
it's a form of puppetry. Excuse me.
But it is a very specific form of puppetry.
You're right.
So you must call it what it is. They
You're
are
right.
marionettes.
Yes, these are marionetters. I don't know what the proper term is.
Probably marionneteers if we were going to be very literal to the French. But
I don't want to be that good to the French. But Betsy, Team America, at the time, it looked fucking stupid. And I didn't want to have anything to do with that. And it's possible that I didn't know that it was Trey Parker and Matt Stone, but I'm sure they would have marketed the ever-loving shit out of it that way. So it's been so long, I don't really remember what my mindset was, but I do remember that I thought it looked fucking stupid.
correct.
And I'm sure it is. So the reason why we chose this movie in the first place, because I do know something about this movie, despite me really not seeing anything of it. Those of you little ones who were not around in the early 2000s, by the way, we are recording this on 9/10.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
we planned that somehow.
Yeah, so
Not intentional, but here we
a
are.
little event happened in 2001 that made our entire world turn on its head. And it made people be a lot more weird and uptight and gung-ho America.
And there was a lot of stuff that preoccupied our thoughts in the early aughts.
By this time, I think we were already in 2 different wars. Both of us were in college at this point. And, you know, I've mentioned this on other podcasts in the past. The thing I was kind of thinking about in my mind, even though I was at college, it's like, shit, am I going to get fucking drafted? That was a thought going through my head. So I didn't want to be reminded of all the stupid shit that was happening in the world. I didn't want to be reminded of the fact that, you know, me being me, not really wanting the country to go to war in, you know, these other places. Maybe I was just actively avoiding being reminded of the wickedness of the world.
But what better time to make a movie that makes fun
Yes.
of the way Americans were at this time?
Yeah, and I think Trey and Matt are fucking experts when it comes to stepping away and not being a part of America, if that really makes sense, to like step out of society and look at the country from afar. And I'm not saying, hey, go to another country. I mean, they can step out of themselves and look upon the situation in which we are in and understand it at a much deeper level so that you can make fun of it. That's really where I'm coming from here.
And they're also experts at finding the line and pushing it well beyond what anyone else was comfortable doing at the time they did it.
Their kind of comedy, their line pushing reminds me a lot of the way George Carlin would do things, where he had a bit where he said, my favorite thing is finding where the line is, deliberately crossing it, and then seeing who I can bring with me over that line, convincing them that it's better on this side of the line.
So you've definitely got a sense of the kind of comedy we're about to watch, but what do you actually know about this movie?
So
give me some specifics.
My understanding here is these puppets are a part of
the marionettes trend.
Whatever. I'm going to call them puppets. I'm sorry. But these guys are a part of some fucking like team that is out there trying to go after the quote unquote terrorists. I have no idea whether or not this team is put together because of certain events or if it is just like this secret operations team that has been around for however long and they're the ones that we send. They're like the SEAL Team 6 that the government sends off to fucking kick ass. And I think that's really what this thing is about. It is America kicking ass, taking names, but being ridiculous in how they're doing it.
Oh, and I guarantee as we get into the movie, there's going to be some moments where you look at me because you realize for the 13 years we've been together, I've been quoting Team America and you didn't know it.
Probably. You've also probably told me that that's where that's from.
The source is Team America.
Yeah, at the very least, I'm going to have the context now, so.
Quite possibly. Well, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about this movie than that.
Now, Betsy, before we actually get into it, I'm just really curious if this is going to be another musical like the South Park movie was.
I guess we're going to have to
find out.
So let's go do it. We're going to go watch Team America, World Police, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Trent, remember what the world was like in 2004?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
God damn it.
How many times have you heard me say that name that way?
In that way.
And it wasn't until just now you looked at me and suddenly realized
as you covered your face
what I've been doing for 13 plus years. Trent, that was Team America, World Police. What did you think of this very silly little movie?
I don't know what to say because, I mean, I was right.
It's incredibly stupid.
It is so fucking dumb. But I don't know if I love this movie or I hate this movie. I'm gearing towards maybe hating this movie more than anything. It was really fucking stupid. And my mind is just kind of blown that they just went there, but I shouldn't be surprised by any of it, really. I guess I'm kind of wrong in that they weren't really going after what I thought they were going to go after here. This is more a send up of fucking Hollywood and like big ass Jerry Bruckheimer, everything blows up action type movies.
They are going after a lot of different parties in this movie. Yes, they are. The crux of the movie is America going after terrorism, which in the early 2000s, we were all quite aware of. That was an everyday element to our lives. Like, how many times did they say weapons of mass destruction in this movie? And when we were like 15, we didn't know what the fuck that was. All of a sudden, it became things that we said every day. So it's making fun of that. It's making fun of the fact that America comes into countries with no regard and just fucks shit up regardless of the consequences. It is making fun of Hollywood. It is making fun of pretty much everything. Like, they are going above and beyond to be absolutely as absurd as possible.
Yeah, and when you think back to this time, there were a lot of really, really famous people who are out there protesting war and protesting the consequences of war.
Because everybody was.
Those people, much like, the French and the Germans who didn't go along with us into Iraq and whatever else, those people were vilified because how dare you? How dare you not go along and support the troops and support America and the everything? How dare you? But at the same time, a lot of those people were really fucking self-righteous, and they kind of deserved a lot of this shit.
Yeah, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they knew what they were doing when they made this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this right now. If you've made it this far and you're expecting this episode to go a certain way, this is probably going to go down as the most unwoke movie that we are ever going to cover on this podcast, because that is what they were going for.
Of course.
They are going to be insulting and crossing lines, and it is a lot, this movie. And you're either going to be super on board or you're going to be so offended by this, and these are guys who do not give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. Like, they are doing this very, very lowbrow version of this movie where they could have, if they really wanted to, they could have had real actors do the voices, do the languages in a proper way, but they just said, fuck that, let's just do fucking gibberish.
Yeah, we're not going to be accurate in any way. They're going to be stereotypes of puppets.
Yeah.
They don't speak the language. It's just gibberish using words that you've heard people say on the news, that people from the Middle East say.
These kinds of people say words like this. These kinds of people in this other part of the world says stuff like this, and it's just stupid American perspective on the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's the perception of we're the good guys coming in to save the planet. Meanwhile, they set up very, very quickly that Team America is a fucking menace to planet Earth.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're just like, we'll get the bad guys shooting a bazooka and leveling the Eiffel Tower in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, the Eiffel Tower is gone.
They blow up the Louvre.
The Louvre is gone.
They're high-fiving and going, all right, guys, we did it.
Yeah, and they also show the scenes of the horrified faces of the locals. Not only that, but when they go to Cairo, they blow up the fucking pyramids. The Sphinx is gone.
Abu Simbel, like all of the other monuments that people recognize.
All of that is completely destroyed, and you see the reactions of everybody else there. That's really the message here. It's not that we're going around and fucking shit up, because we do that everywhere. No, we leave in our wake some really horrible consequences.
Yeah. What you were saying in the intro is what they're doing. These two guys love to take a step back, really analyze a situation, and then present it back at you and make you look at it. And it's like, yeah, we're not saying anything that isn't true. In the early 2000s, America was just flying into places we had no business being. We did it during Vietnam. We did it during Korea. We love this shit. We love going into places we don't need to be because we need to bring America.
Well, it's more, hey, we're the world's police. And that's exactly what is being portrayed here.
So what's the name of the movie, Trent?
I know. So that's really what they're trying to take down here. All this other extra stuff, the Hollywood stuff, all the actors stuff, is just kind of the cherry on top. But Betsy, I'm really glad that I interrupted you during the intro while we were about to go and watch the movie, where I said, gee, I wonder if there's going to be a musical element to this movie. Gee, I wonder. Wow, was I... man.
It's like these guys love writing a song.
They really do, though.
They love it.
Betsy, you told me something that you read that I want you to repeat here. At least the gist, anyway.
Yeah, this movie wasn't exactly like a smash success. It barely made its money back, basically, by the time the world grosses were in. But there are a lot of people who loved this movie, like really well-known people. And Trey Parker said that he got a letter from a fan saying that they were going to vote for this movie for like the best one of the year. They loved this movie. And when the Book of Mormon opened, they shared the letter on their social media page. The letter was from Stephen Sondheim, who they were basically alluding that he was going to vote for this in the Academy for Best Picture because he loved it. And he offered to work with them on adapting Team America for a stage musical.
Yeah.
Some really talented, smart people love Team America.
Yeah, and you said there was another one that Jodie Foster had mentioned.
Jodie Foster.
If you're going to watch any movie, it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once and Team America World Police.
The movies that people should see at least one time.
Yeah.
And this movie actually was exceptionally well received. Trent, I checked this before we started. It has like a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's insane.
And it's like 84 or something for the fan score. And there's like a shitload of fan scores.
I'm sure.
There's like in the, six figures, the number of fans that have gone on and reviewed this. Now, yes, that page, take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's probably pretty fair to say that most people got the joke. Most people understood this is coming from the guys who made fucking South Park. We already had received from them a few years before South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut. And that movie is just bombastic. And this one is that and more. It's just so irreverent and so cutting at times, but it is presented as a big old pile of poop. It's so stupid. It is absolutely stupid, but you cannot disagree with me that these guys know what the fuck they're doing.
Absolutely. And again, me sitting here right now and saying I kind of hate the movie, it's just because it's never going to be a movie that I'm going to just throw on. Like, I have to pay attention to really get all the jokes here. Obviously, this is the first time I'm watching this, and my mind is just kind of blown right now because I just don't know what I fucking witnessed.
Were you enjoying yourself? Because you were laughing while we were watching it.
I was laughing quite a bit. It was very, very funny. But again, I can only take so much stupidity at any given time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, if this movie was like 5 minutes longer, it would be too long.
It's already kind of too long.
It's barely over 90 minutes. It's like an hour 37 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it cooks. Like, the plot is very fast and loose. And it's, again, the plot to this movie is so stupid. Team America lost a team member in a tragic way at the very beginning of the movie. They thought they got the terrorists in Paris, but one of them wasn't dead and he killed Carson. Oh no. So now they need an actor. They need an actor to take his place, and Gary is the finest actor in America. He's the Top Gun, the Maverick.
Acting in one of the best musicals of all time, Lease the Musical, a play on Rent, with the song, I don't know the title, but
I believe it's
the
called...
idea is Everyone Has AIDS.
I believe it's called Everyone Has AIDS.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And it moves everybody in the audience. But this is clearly the guy. Gary Johnston, Broadway star, needs to join Team America. So again, this is that commentary that, actors are going to save the planet. And this is a hot button thing that people love to get up in arms about. Like, oh, well, they have a platform. Stay in your lane, actors. Why are you getting involved in politics?
Yeah, it's been happening for fucking ever.
Literally forever.
People with a platform like actors do, and they live in Hollywood. They come from a lot of different places, but for the most part, they're not going to be advocating for, bombing shit.
Not on a major platform anyway.
No.
But it's that thing that always happens where half of America is always like, you have a platform, why aren't you using it? And the other half is going, stay in your lane and just be an actor.
It's the same thing when athletes do the same thing.
If you are any kind of celebrity, a musician, an athlete, if you are famous to the average American.
And whether you have actually some knowledge in the subject or not, if you speak on something that isn't necessarily your lane, you're going to be dismissed.
Yeah. So putting the guy at the front of this movie as a Broadway actor who is going to go in undercover with Team America and infiltrate the terrorist group to figure out, we've heard some chatter that there's going to be an attack. That is preposterous. It is an absolutely ridiculous scenario. And it just, again, plays up the fact that this team is bombastic and blowing things up, and they're really bad at their jobs. There's nothing clandestine about them. They're flying in red, white, and blue choppers and airplanes, landing in the middle of like market squares, crushing booths of merchandise. And they're like, stand back, everyone. America's here.
Right. And like taking off in their flying limousine, flying into Mount Rushmore, where their base of operations is.
Woohoo, home state.
Home state. They don't talk about South Dakota, but that is clearly South Dakota.
It is.
They also talk about Nebraska and Iowa in this movie.
Yeah, this is like real America shit.
Yeah. This is a really weird aside. When they do the establishing shots of the other parts of the world where the text says so many miles away from America, east of America, south of America, whatever, or south of real America.
South of real America.
Yeah, I really wonder what the reference point is to those miles. Is it like the center of the country, or is it a specific location? I'm really curious.
We're going to have to go measure that after we're done recording and see.
I'm not going to do that.
No, because I want to know, is it from headquarters, which would mean it's from our home stage?
Maybe.
Or is it from the very edge of America? Like, okay, we're at Texas going to South America. I don't know. But yes, they're establishing whatever this fucking threat is. They talk about, okay, there's weapons of mass destruction, and okay, they do actually reference 9/11 here a few different times, but what the terrorists are going to do is going to be like 9/11 times 100. And then they do math.
Yeah, they do math a couple of times.
They do that joke several times in this. And it's really interesting to think about when this movie came out, because people were still quite sensitive. And I'm not saying we should make fun of 9/11. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying we are 23 years removed now. It was very, very fresh.
Betsy, I saw something the other day about the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas are memifying 9/11 a lot more.
That doesn't surprise me.
Because
they weren't there.
They weren't alive for the trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't go through it. So I get it. It's a generational trauma. We're millennials. We lived through it.
As these young people start to learn about what happened back then, and they start also learning about the consequences of what happened subsequent to those events, they can kind of understand where we are as a world.
Yeah. And how all of us in our generation, why we are the way we are.
Exactly.
And one of those reasons is Team America World Police. But to make this movie with a joke like that gets repeated.
Oh, yeah.
Again, they knew which button they were pushing and how far they could push it. Because I'm going to tell you, it's fun. It's a funny joke because it's a math joke. They're not making fun of 9/11. They're just talking about the number 911.
Well, they are doing it, but they're not doing it.
But that's the joke. The punchline is not making fun of the events of that day.
But Betsy, they are making fun of some of the cultural touchstones of the day. One of them being this fake country song about the fucking freedom isn't free. Back when fucking Toby Keith had that big song that came out. Lee Greenwood was on the radio. You could not avoid any of that shit. And again, if you said anything negative back in this day, you were basically labeled a terrorist or at least a sympathizer. And it was just fucking awful.
Yeah, it was very, you're all in for America or you are not an American. Right now, at this point in our history, that's the way it's got to be, which is why there is that kind of through line in this movie of like the Hollywood elites as it turns out in this movie, are joining up with Kim Jong-il.
Right.
The villain of the piece.
Right. And like fucking Michael Moore being in this movie and them portraying him as a suicide bomber. And
they go so far
they
with
go
some
really
of these
far
things.
with that. And I mean, I remember when Michael Moore was just an annoying asshole back then. He still is. It's not like he doesn't have a point to a lot of his stuff. I've seen a lot of his movies, and yeah, he's very much up his own ass. So I do appreciate that they do take a lot of these guys down a peg. Like, come on, fucking Sean Penn. Sean Penn needs to shut the fuck up.
It's interesting the group of celebrities that they have in this, because I feel like I remember, or in subsequent years, remember seeing some of these people in this kind of context. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins.
And Tim Robbins, yeah.
Yeah, Sean Penn, those are the people that were coming out being really loud about it. But like, I don't remember George Clooney ever saying anything about anything. He's in this movie because he knows the guys from South Park.
He and Matt Damon are very much buds with Trey and Matt. So that's why they're in this movie.
Like Helen Hunt. We would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that we now have 2 movies in a row with both Ethan Hawke and Janine Garofalo, though in this one, they have machine guns and their heads get blown up.
Betsy, it happens every decade series. There's got to be a through line from decade to decade.
There's got to be a through line, and that's our through line for this
Oh my
one.
God.
It's so absurd, and we're just bouncing all over the place because that's just what this movie is. It starts, it has a very loose premise, and then it just runs through a bunch of nonsense until the end of the movie. So there's still a lot more we have to cover. But before we do that, we're going to take just a very quick break for a word from our sponsor.
Critics everywhere are raving about patreon.com/neverseenitpod. Superfan Stephanie says, all this for $5 a month? Incredible. Phineas Butterfield of the New England Journal of Medicine calls it available content. Betsy's grandma says, what's a podcast? Don't miss your chance to experience this phenomenon. Join today.
All right, so you've mentioned a couple times now that there is a musical element to this movie.
Very much so.
So in the way that South Park, I would say, is a musical because the characters break out into song that express their feelings, this is a movie that has songs in it. The only person who actually sings is, weirdly, Kim Jong-il. So we already said Lise, the musical. We also have the country song. Then the big one that gets repeated a lot is the theme song, the one that really embodies what we're going for with this movie.
The one that I think the lexicon has picked up on and it has lived on. That's about the only thing from this movie that has lived on outside of it, I think.
And that, of course, is America, fuck yeah. Yeah, I definitely sing America, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I sing that
but in a
often.
derisive way.
Yeah, it's just when we're talking about America is a fucking stupid place to live sometimes.
It's that kind of an attitude.
You ironically go, America, fuck yeah.
Obviously, I knew about that song just from this movie. I knew it was from this movie, but when they did the sad, slowed down version of that, that was maybe the biggest surprise to me. And not because of what they did or when it was played or anything like that. It is, Betsy, it is a precursor to all of these different weird covers that have come out in subsequent decades. These slowed down covers of like rock songs from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have heard of these versions of these songs referred to as the sad bastard versions of the songs. I don't know exactly where it originated, but I like it.
Yeah, they have a big fight where Lisa has slept with Gary, but Sarah liked Gary, and Lisa knew that Sarah liked Gary. But then I don't remember the other guy's name. The other dude from Iowa likes Sarah, and now they're all mad at each other and they're sad on their mission. And we get America. Fuck yeah. Yeah, that is a thing though. You're right, where they like to take songs you definitely know, and it's in a lot of movie trailers that they
Yes.
like to do this.
Movie trailers and game trailers.
Game trailers where it's like, we need to give it some gravitas.
Like there's been a couple of like Nirvana songs covered, and I think Mad World is another one of them
Mad World
that has
is
gotten done a lot.
definitely- Yeah, well, and that would have been around the time this movie came out.
Yeah, so it's been done a lot, but again, they did it to themselves. Oh my God.
It reflects the mood of the characters at that time. Speaking of the mood of characters, Kim Jong-il just doesn't understand why nobody else gets his vision, why he's all by himself and none of the other terrorists see the world the way he does. And he sings "I'm So Lonely" in an
Offensive.
accent that is
Offensive.
offensive, aggressively offensive. Again, on purpose.
Of course.
That's the joke.
You do it so hard that you couldn't possibly think that they're trying to be serious about
No,
it.
there's no sincerity to this.
No.
So if you watch this and you're insulted, good.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, like in the original South Park movie, Saddam Hussein is a very big component of that, and he has this really high-pitched voice.
And notice in this movie, they didn't go after Osama. We could have made Osama bin Laden the bad guy in this movie, but they instead opted to steer a little bit farther away from that because
Sure.
that would be hitting a little too close to home as far as thematically in 2004 where we were as a country.
Yeah.
Instead, we're like, we'll go North Korea. That was still kind of a new threat for
And
us.
Kim Jong-il was still alive.
Yeah. For quite a few years after this movie was released, too.
Yeah.
I don't think he did song and dance, though. The real guy.
I mean, there's so much we don't know about the guy.
Well,
so.
apparently he was a cinephile.
He
Was one
was.
of the behind the scenes things.
He was.
He never publicly commented if he watched this movie or what he thought of it, but he was a guy that loved movies. So there is a possibility he was aware and did see this one, but I guess we'll never know. Another song, after everybody is sad and the team is basically broken up, Gary's not singing a song. This is the weirdest one. It's kind of like the country song where it's his inner feelings. It's basically all about the Michael Bay movie Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor sucked and I miss you.
Right. Yeah, he goes really hard at let's just say Pearl Harbor and the
It's
fact
not
that
a good movie.
the fact that the movie sucked and Ben Affleck needs an acting coach and Cuba Gooding Jr. would have been a better choice for that.
And he needed more to do in that movie. He was wasted being
Right,
there.
right.
Have you seen Pearl Harbor?
I believe I have seen the movie once.
I believe I also have only seen that movie once, and it's a weird movie. Again, early 2000s, we're trying to ride this wave of America and stuff that we've gone through as a country, and it was a strange time. Strange time.
It was also a time when you could make really long epics and get a really big budget for your
Yes,
movie.
We're riding the
So-
wave of Gladiator at that point.
Yeah. Pearl Harbor is 3 hours long. You could have cut a complete hour out of that movie and it would have been a better movie. It wouldn't still be good.
No, because the movie spends so much time about characters who happen to be at Pearl Harbor. The events of Pearl Harbor are like 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yep.
But the movie is called Pearl Harbor.
Right.
So yeah, it misses the mark,
there was
to
a-
say the least.
Yeah, there was another movie that is similar to that, a very, very low key kind of a thing, where it's the movie Bobby,
Yep.
which is a fictionalized story about the happenings in the hotel where Bobby Kennedy was assassinated. It's got all these big name actors, and they're just put in this position of being around during the time when Bobby Kennedy was running for president. And they're all around this hotel where it happened.
It's kind of like Forrest Gump, how he's sort of
Yeah.
inserted into events, but it's just adjacent to the event.
Right. Like the movie is called Bobby, but it kind of has nothing to do with it. It's just the ending.
Yeah. They're
It's-
all in the building when
Yeah.
it happens.
Kinda. Like all the acting is really good. All the actors are really good in the movie, but it's not a good movie.
It's like okay.
Yeah.
It's just, at best, it's an okay movie.
I don't know why it has to exist.
No, a passion project, Trent. A lot of people make passion projects.
It's true. That was Emilio Estevez's project.
Was that his first directorial movie?
I have no idea.
Well, anyway, there's one other song in this movie that's actually really funny, and it's the montage song because Gary comes back to the group after he says, no, it's too dangerous and I screwed it up and it's because of me that so many people died. And he goes and wallows in his misery and vomits. So much vomit. He vomits a lot. And then he comes to his senses and says, I want to help. And to get him ready for the mission, they have a training sequence. And this is another one that sometimes in my head I go, a montage! We gotta have a montage!
Yeah, we're going to need a montage.
Yeah. And he's learning how to shoot and he's learning how to fight hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
He's going through his training sequence and getting better in every sequence.
Yeah, and we finally get to the big palace where the finale is going to happen. And Betsy, I don't know if you've heard of this little movie called The Matrix. It came out in 1999.
I am familiar with it.
It was kind of a big deal.
Trent.
And this movie is fucking dripping
Trent.
with references to The Matrix.
Trent. The director of photography for this movie is the director of photography from the second and third Matrix movies.
Really?
He also did The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So he did Matrix Reloaded, Matrix, what the hell's the other one called?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. The second one, the third one, Spider-Man 2, Team America World Police. That was his run.
I will tell you what, though. This movie right here was incredibly difficult to make.
Yes.
Just fucking looking at it.
Yes, this movie cost $30 million to make. The studio was like, how much could marionettes cost?
Yeah, the studio said, okay, we're going to greenlight your project right away without asking a whole lot of questions because how much could it cost to make a puppet movie, for fuck's sake? Oh no, you have no idea.
If they do it right, it'll cost $30 million because they built 100 models, like to scale models
the
of
sets.
these various places, all these tiny cars. I don't know how many specific individual puppets in this movie.
And
it's
they looked
a lot.
good.
They all have very detailed features and they have little eyebrows that move and their mouths move.
I was freaked out by the Helen Hunt puppet because just the little details in the eyes and in the mouth, and I could not look away from it.
It's not that it looks like her, but also
But
it's
it
like,
does.
but how does it look like her?
Right? I know that that's Helen Hunt.
Meanwhile, Matt Damon didn't really look like Matt Damon, but also it's like, okay, I see what you're going for, though.
Matt Damon.
You are never going to escape that now. Now
No.
that you have the context.
Now that I know.
There's a few other things from this movie that I realize I do and kind of forget that they come from this. There is a very long puppet sex scene in this movie.
Yes, there is.
Between Lisa and Gary. And he's trying to tell her after, 2 days that he's in love with her. And she goes, shh, and puts her finger up to his mouth, to his lips, but instead gets him in his eye.
Yeah.
And my friend and I still once in a while go, shh, and reach out and touch each other in the eye. That thing. And we're guards. We're guards.
I have heard you say that.
Josie, my friend Josie and I watched this movie together, and she and I, she is why I say Matt Damon, and we're guards. Because
Okay.
we watched this together, and we're just cracking the fuck up. For years afterwards, we just go, Matt Damon.
You should text her that.
I'm gonna text her that because you know what?
Yes.
She's on West Coast time, which means she's not gonna go to bed right now.
It's true. Of course, the thing that led up to that is the great sequence where she says, "Promise you'll never die."
If you could promise you'll never die, I'd sleep with you right now. All right,
promise I'll never die.
Yeah, the whole movie is over the top, melodramatic nonsense. And it just makes me laugh. This is not a good movie, but at the same time, this movie is incredible. Like, I was in tears at one point. I was laughing so hard. And I don't know if it's because I'm so uncomfortable because this is the least woke movie, again, to use a modern parlance, or it's just ridiculous and I'm enjoying myself. I understand completely why you have no idea how you feel about this movie.
Yeah.
Because you could easily just hate this. You could just hate this movie.
That's the thing. I am laughing hysterically, but I'm also shaking my head at the same time.
But why? Why am I laughing?
Because I understand comedy, and this is at its core a comedy, and they do it very, very well. They're doing it in a very offensive way, but in a way that is so over the top that you can't take it seriously.
No, if you take this seriously, you are missing the point.
Yeah, if you take a movie like this seriously, like what the hell is wrong with you?
What person? These are always my favorite when you go and read like negative reviews of this.
Sure.
And it's people who like went out of their way to watch this. And I'm like, what would possess you to watch this? Did
If
you
you
not
knew-
know going in what you were watching?
If you knew that this was going to be hot trash in your mind, why would you waste your time?
Yeah. Or if you knew anything about this, or if you didn't know, why didn't you find out first? That drives
Sure.
me insane. People who do not research what the movie is they're going to go see and then reserve the right to be pissed off about it when they are offended by it.
That's why there are movie reviews. That's why there are ratings agencies. That's why all these resources are out there for you so that you know that you're not going to waste your time or, take your kids to see the fun puppet movie.
Well, and same thing, these guys made The Book of Mormon, which is, you've now seen it twice.
Yes, on stage I have seen it 2 or 3 times now.
Maybe we've seen it 3 times. I've definitely seen it twice with you. That's what I know.
Yeah.
But it is the kind of musical where it takes all of 35 seconds probably of reading a description or hearing one song clip from that show for you to decide if this is a show for you. It was part of the like package deal for the local Broadway touring shows here a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really think it was something my parents would like. So I steered them away from it. But I'm right on that edge because I think my dad would think it's really funny. I don't think my mom would like it. But then I go back and I listen to the soundtrack. I'm like, 90% of this is actually pretty tame. It is pretty standard Broadway musical. But when they cross that line,
Yes.
they go barreling way past the line of
there's
decency.
one. I'm not going to spoil anything in that show, but there is one portion in the middle of the fucking show that is really, really, really beyond that. I applaud every time I think about it because, wow, they went there and they fucking nailed the comedy of it.
Yes.
That's what you need to do.
And if
you're not being mean about it.
No, but if you don't know what you're going to and then reserve the right to complain about it, that's on you.
Yeah.
I was working on the ticketing side of that show at the time. And the complaints we got, it's like, do you know how much educating we were trying to do for our little community to be ready for the Book of Mormon,
Yeah.
the Broadway musical, which we all know is very offensive to people who are easily offended.
Sure.
But then people still complained. It's like, okay, I can't help you. I don't know what to do. Same thing with this movie. If you have not figured out by now, after 25 plus years of South Park, that this is who these guys are. This is the shit they love to do. They're going to find that button and they're going to push the button.
Yeah.
And you're either going to be here for it or you're not. You're probably going to laugh whether you want to or not. That is what they're going for. Maybe you love this. I know there are probably people who 20 years later still watch this movie religiously. As I
I'm
said in the
sure.
intro, I think I've maybe seen this 1.5 times. Now I've seen it twice. I can definitively say I've seen this movie twice.
Right.
I'm probably not going to watch this again for another, I don't know how many years. But you bet your ass I'm going to be singing America Fuck Yeah for the rest of my days.
Sure. And I'm right there with you as far as whether or not I'm going to see this movie again. Probably someday, but it's the same thing as like going to see the Book of Mormon. If it's going to come to town again, Am I going to go and see it a 3rd/4th time?
Speaking of, it is coming to town again if you want to go.
Fine. That's the thing, though. I don't think I need to.
Yeah.
We have the soundtrack. I can listen to the music anytime I want to. I don't need to see the whole thing again. Just like this movie, I don't need to see the stupid-ass puppets doing their stupid-ass puppet things again.
You don't need them to fuck. You don't need that.
I don't need fucking puppet sex in my life
you don't
anymore.
Need fucking puppets, Trent.
I don't need fucking puppets.
Fucking puppets.
Oh my God. But then again, I think about all the other movies that they have made, and I have seen Orgasmo once. I have seen Basketball probably just once. I've seen the South Park movie probably, 5 times because I was into South Park at the time. And I am kind of curious why they never went and made another South Park movie proper. But then again, I also read that when Trey and Matt make movies, they just go balls out. They are working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. They just cannot stop working. So maybe that's why they didn't also do the show while making a movie. Yeah, even to this day, these guys are still very much involved in the making of the South Park TV show.
They've kind of given up a lot of the reins, though. I think
sure, but they're still involved.
No, they still do the voices and stuff.
Totally.
But they're also dads and they have kids and families and
just like
other lives.
Seth MacFarlane is not writing jokes for fucking Family Guy, and
they have a team for that.
Right. But he shows up and still does the voices because you could never replace the voices.
No, you really can't. And I have not kept up watching South Park.
Oh, no.
Once in a while, you and I will throw on those specials, like when they did the one in 2020 where they're like, it's a COVID special. We watched that because we didn't really have much else to do at that point.
It's true.
All right, Trent, we've spent a great deal of time here talking about everything and nothing at the same time because that's the kind of movie this is.
Way more than anybody should ever talk about Team America World Police.
However, do you have any other final thoughts about this movie before we wrap this one up?
I have a couple. For one thing, I never in my life thought I would hear the name Hans Blix
ever again. I'm going to tell you, I didn't remember that name or who that was, but the way that you reacted, I was like, oh, that person must be real.
Oh, yeah. Hans Blix was like the UN inspector who was going around inspecting and trying to find the WMD in Iraq and could not find anything. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's in North Korea trying to inspect their shit and is subsequently, fed to the sharks.
Yeah. Like any good Bond villain would do to anybody who
Indeed.
Comes in inspecting his plans.
Sure. And yeah, Hans Blix. Good God, man.
What memories have been stirred?
Seriously, Jesus. Anyway, also they had a couple of weird Star Wars references here that I can't believe they went so fucking hard in that direction. When they go into the tavern and there's a band there playing a weird version of the fucking Cantina song from the original Star Wars.
It's the poor man's Cantina band.
Yeah.
And then later on, when Gary goes to North Korea in a robe and he's like, you don't need to see my invitation.
Does the fucking Jedi mind trick to the guards.
I'm running late because he is a brilliant actor. And you loved that line. There's a subtle joke there where it's near the end of the movie and the bombs are about to go off around the world and Alec Baldwin is there and Gary needs to outact Alec Baldwin, the greatest actor in the world.
Yeah, and the woman says, get up there, Gary, act fast. That's such a great line.
Because double meaning, Trent.
It's a double meaning.
And I didn't even catch it. You were like, that's a great line. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
It took me a second to really get it. And I'm like, man, that's really clever. I like that.
Sometimes the simplest joke is the funniest.
Yeah.
And you don't even, it's so good you don't catch it's the
fits
joke.
So well
in
that position. Yeah. How else could you say that? Act fast. Because there's about to be bombs going off everywhere. And
they save the day. It works out.
They do. But you know who else did their jobs?
Who's that, Trent?
The Black Panthers who go in there and
you mean the cats?
The two little kitties.
There is a great use of proportion, and there's a lot of proportionality jokes that they do throughout this movie. That's one of them where they release the Panthers to attack two of the members of Team America. But yeah, they're just regular
They're just black
house
cats.
cats. They're house cats. There's also one in Kim Jong-il's palace. There is a giant statue of himself, a big bronze statue. It is a human being in a costume, painted bronze. And if you watch him, he's like blinking and moving. But proportionally to the puppets, that's exactly the right size.
Sure.
And there's just stupid little details like in Panama, all the background plants are cannabis plants.
Of course.
And in Paris, in the opening scene, the streets are paved with croissants. It's such stupid attention to detail that just adds to the care, if you want to use that word, that went into the craft of making this insane movie that never before and never again are we going to get a Team America style movie. Like, I truly believe that only these two guys and only at this time could have made this movie. And you're either going to love it or you're going to be like you, where you're like, I didn't hate it, but also maybe I did.
Yeah.
I think that is a valid response to this movie.
And if you listen to everything that I said here, I didn't really say too many negative things about the movie itself. It is fucking ridiculous. I know
Structurally,
it
it
is.
flows. I understand who's the good guy, who's the bad guy.
And this is incredibly difficult to make. It is shot like unusually well, if I can really be honest here.
They got extremely talented people to work on this absurd
Harry
movie.
Gregson Williams did the score.
Yep.
A big name score guy. Yeah.
It's a well-crafted movie
For what it is.
for what it is.
But yes, I had a good time watching this movie. I'm glad I finally watched it because, again, what the hell else could we have covered for 2004?
And when else are you going to watch this, Trent? If you
Yeah.
hadn't done it for this, I don't think you'd ever watch this fucking movie.
Probably not.
Probably not. But that is going to be the end for Team America World Police. I know there are some of you out there that have seen this movie in a way that you probably haven't watched many of the movies we've seen. I think there's proportionally a lot more people have watched Team America.
Totally. And this is in the same vein that a movie like Taken was in, because we got a lot of responses on Taken, not only for people listening to the episode and emailing us about it. So you're welcome.
But that's what you should do. You should email us or send us a message about this movie and your experience with it, because we want to hear from you. Tell us what you thought. Email us neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You could also message us on any of our social media platforms. We're on all of those. We did get a couple of responses about our last movie that we did from 1994, Reality Bites, because there's a lot of people I know out there that love this movie. So one of them was Andrew over at the Revisionist Almanac. He sent us a response on Twitter about, I asked the question, what do you think of this movie? And he said, so relatable, the angst, the dread of what you want to be when you grow up, universal truths everyone can relate to.
Indeed.
We also got an email, Trent, from Dawn. She's a new emailer.
A brand new emailer.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Holy
excited.
shit.
So she begins, hi, Betsy and Trent. I was a senior in high school when Reality Bites came out, and I went to see it with my friends because we liked Winona Ryder, and my friend Abby had a huge crush on Ethan Hawke. I think we all did. At one point or another, I definitely went through an Ethan Hawke phase. I remember being sorely disappointed after that first watch. Hawke's character was so greasy, like you said, and just a mean jerk all throughout. It was such a bummer. Then, after I graduated from college, I put it on again and was shocked at how much I loved it. I realized it is the perfect just out of college movie. I related to so much more of it then. I didn't have friends who were burnouts quite as much as Troy, but I was living with a revolving door of assorted roommates.
Yep.
I was never without a Diet Coke. I'm still not. Yeah, the Diet Coke tribe, they're real. That's a real thing.
It's true. And that is something that I don't think I will ever relate to. Like, you folks and your Diet Cokes, I don't understand.
Enjoy what you enjoy, I guess.
guess.
But yeah, she says, I loved that time of my life in my single 20s, living with friends and watching us all figure out what we were going to do and become while splitting bills and making sure someone bought groceries. I also lived in Texas like these characters do. Even just the scene of Janine Garofalo and Winona singing and dancing while cruising around town reminded me of daily life with my friends.
Totally.
It was so relatable and fun. Best line, "Quick, Vicky, what's your social security number?" And she recites it without hesitation and realizes that's the only thing I really learned in college. So true. I'm a mother of 4 now in my mid-40s, but I'll always have a soft spot for this flick. And Stay by Lisa Loeb is always and forever my go-to karaoke song. Thanks for a fun show, Dawn from Maine.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, this is that thing where that tiny age difference, just a couple of years,
You need that extra perspective.
yeah, makes all the difference for where, even for someone who was there in 94, who was in high school and didn't like it, and then did once they were out of college.
Yeah, you are basically almost a contemporary to these actors and these characters.
Yeah, and the feelings and the time and the place.
Yeah.
And I think the only struggle that we really had was we're too far removed from it.
Yeah, we watched it brand new when we're almost 40.
Yeah, I really am now sitting here kind of regretting that I didn't get to see this when I was 22, because maybe I could have watched this and gone, it's me. I'm like this person. I'm
Sure.
like that person. I know what this is. So yeah, with Dawn saying she's from Texas and her friends were there and revolving
She
door
had a
roommates.
bunch of roommates. Yeah, I can totally see how and why this movie resonated so much with that generation. And Dawn, you are very much of that generation. We are not.
We missed it just by a little bit.
It's true.
But thank you again, Dawn. We're so happy to have a new emailer, so we hope we hear from you again.
Yeah, stick around.
So be like Dawn. Send us an email, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We're cooking through these years of our decade series. So there's a lot of recent content here that you can go check out that I bet you've seen and can email us about.
And don't think that you have to email whatever the most recent episode is. Email about anything. Go back to episode 222. Sure, why not?
I mean, you could go back to the beginning if you really want to, but as
We
we
don't
keep
recommend
saying,
it.
They're not as good.
They're not as good.
We're way more fun now because we figured out how to podcast.
Yes.
We tried in those days, but we're never going to tell you to start there. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
But yeah, send us your thoughts about any of those movies, or send us a question that you have that has nothing to do with movies. We like answering questions, or a movie you think we should cover that's related to something we covered already. That email one more time, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can message us directly on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. We're on all of those platforms. Just look for Never Seen It with Trent and Betsy. You'll find us on any of those places.
And all the links are in every single episode description.
Trent makes it easy for you. I don't have to edit this. He has to do all that work.
It's true.
While we're talking about where the podcasts can be found, there's also a place on all of those platforms where you can rate us 5 stars. You could also write us a review. If you're feeling shy, if you don't want to send us an email directly, you can help support the show indirectly by writing a review and giving us a rating, because that will help us find new fans like yourselves to listen to Never Seen It.
All you got to do is just tap that 5 stars and it'll get more people to listen, maybe.
I hope so. That's the idea anyway. And if you haven't gotten enough listening to us in this episode and the rest of the main feed, we of course also have a Patreon. So you can go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where we have, I have lost count how many shows, at least 4, I think technically 5 now, extra shows that you can consume every single week. We started this in January, so we've got almost a full year of content we're going to have very soon that you can check out. $5 a month. Patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
We keep thinking of new things to do over there. And
It's more a matter of having the time to do it.
those take less time. The extra shows in particular take less time. We also have a show on there called The Conversation Pit, where Betsy and I just kind of talk to each other about stuff not related to movies.
Life, the human experience, the human condition, things we've gone through in our own lives.
Yeah.
It's just talking. Because we like to talk to. We're married. Trent, did you know this?
Yeah. I did know that.
Yeah,
I got this ring on my finger, and I think you got one too.
Yeah, I'm not wearing it right now, but that's because we're at home and that would be silly.
I never take mine off.
But that is going to do it for 2004. Now that let's bring it back to the episode. My God.
Let's end this fucking episode.
So that's going to be it for 2004. We're not done with this series. We got 2 more episodes left. We're going to 2014 next. This is where it always gets interesting in the 20-teens for this series.
Yeah.
Because you and I were together and went to a lot of movies.
And if there's a movie that we haven't seen that we've wanted to see, why haven't we seen it yet? So that's why it is a little bit more difficult. But for 2014, we're gonna bring it down a little bit, more down to earth. We're gonna be watching the movie Chef.
Yeah, this
Just
is
Chef.
something we have wanted to watch for 10 years.
Yes.
And we're finally going to do it. So yes, come back next week. We're going to be watching Chef starring Jon Favreau from 2014. But until then, this has been Never Seen It. We thank you for listening. My name is Betsy.
And my name's Trent.
We'll see you next week.